All right, welcome golf fans to another episode of Right Click Print Money, where we are all about making paper for the masses. I am your host, Sports Guy Ty, joined as always by my esteemed co-hosts Tmac and ShallowCal. Gentlemen, good evening to you both. It is the Players Championship week. Are we excited?
Playa. Oh yeah.
Always excited for a major, and yeah, this is going to be a fun one.
We're going to get into that debate in a little bit, whether this is truly the fifth major or otherwise. But what this week also is, this is 1 year to the date that the sports world essentially shut down after Hideki Matsuyama's opening 63 course record at TPC Sawgrass, and they literally pulled players off the course on the 17th and 18th green to end the round and cancel the tournament. Hard to believe that we are now a full year removed from that event.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I can't believe that that's exactly a year from now. That's crazy.
It's been a long year.
Been an interesting one, to say the least.
Yeah.
All right, T-Mac, we're going to start with you this week for your podcast sauce. What is fueling the creative juices for all those picks tonight?
I've got a little old nostalgic juice thanks to ShallowCal there. Got a little Yingling. For those of you who don't know, I went to college in Pennsylvania, so
Okay.
this is Pennsylvania piss water. I got this in my veins.
Pottsville, Pennsylvania, America's oldest brewery.
Yes, sir.
How
Yeah,
about you, ShallowCal?
I picked that up for T-Mac there on my way back. They sell it in Ohio, which will segue into mine. I'm drinking a Maumee Bay Brewing Fake Juice New England style IPA. So opening a restaurant there and being there, you get to taste the local flavors. And this is actually a pretty fantastic IPA.
Juicy little New England IPA. I like it.
Yeah.
So I am actually on the same tip as T-Mac tonight. I've got my Yingling Light, also from Ohio, that made the trip back from Cincinnati a couple weeks ago. And we were visiting some family down there. But more importantly, I am rocking the Florabama koozie tonight for my koozie of the week, the Lounge Package and Oyster Bar, Playboy's best beach bar in America in the 1990s.
It's got oysters. I love it.
Oh, anyway, fried, raw, give them to me.
Raw with a little bit of lemon. That's all you need.
Exactly. I like a little hot sauce on there.
Oh yeah, shoot one with a little Louisiana.
Oh yeah.
I like the Crystal.
Nice.
That's my go-to for oysters, and they make those tiny little bottles, and you can just stick them right in the ice next to the oysters, and just.
Perfect. All right, lots to get to again tonight, including a recap of the Arnold Palmer Invitational, where we will review our winning picks in the right-click print money segment, as well as our worst tips in the bogeys of the week. We'll also talk through a few sweats we had on tickets we didn't cash, and then we'll turn our attention to the Players Championship and previewing the course, the layout, and key statistics before giving our tips and best outright picks for the week. I do want to let everyone know where they can find the show each week, as well as all of our picks. In addition to YouTube, we're listed on Apple Podcasts and iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts. Just search Right Click Print Money. Once you find us, do us a solid, hit the subscribe button, smash the like button, leave us a review. Let us know what you like about the show, and if you can, please download the episodes. We've got a Twitter page as well. Follow us at Right Click Picks. We post our full cards there every week, including place bets and props. And we also have pinned a link to our Google spreadsheet that's now open to the public and tracking all of our picks for the year and our total win-loss numbers in units. Finally, I want to quickly give a little love to a new show that we debuted this week, European Tour Tips and Picks, hosted by yours truly. It's also under the Right Click Print Money podcast, and this will be shorter form content previewing the weekly Euro Tour events and giving best tips and picks, 15, 30-minute quick hitters. Check out my preview this week of the Qatar Masters. 3 players with triple-digit odds I'm on who can make some noise in the desert. All right, boys, the goal is making paper, so let's get right to it and recap the Arnold Palmer Invitational. Big week for Bryson.
Yeah, and he did what everybody was saying, including you, SportsGuyTy, saying he couldn't do. He he drove that. Well, he didn't drive the green, but
Did not drive the green.
But I mean,
I thought you guys were talking about bend the rules as much as possible. Sorry.
Well, that's not fair.
I thought we were
But I
talking
mean,
about winning the tournament.
he did
okay.
have enough length to hit that green if he wanted.
He absolutely did. If he had straightened it out, especially on Saturday when he had that 10, 12 mile an hour wind to him. Here's the thing, though, and I saw a few people that had this take on Twitter, but it's spot on, right? If Bryson had really gone all in on that and taken the proper angle to try and drive the green, he probably would have made it, especially, like I said, on Saturday. But had he missed that, the allure of Bryson is gone. If he proves that he can't do it even one time, then all that hype is for naught. And so he did the smartest thing he possibly could. He walked up there, he hyped up the crowd. I mean, everybody was just coming to the sixth tee every single day to see Bryson, and he played into it and he gave him a show, but he took the safe route. He went right to the green, went to the bunker.
Fists, though.
Do you see Spieth when Spieth stopped and turned around to watch Bryson tee off?
No.
So that's another reason why Bryson is so important to the game of golf. Every golfer who was within sight distance of Bryson on the sixth that day stopped and turned to watch him.
That's cool.
So Bryson obviously was waiting for the green to clear. Spieth was on the green, went off the green, stopped, turned around, and watched Bryson go for it. And the adrenaline that when he lined up for the ball, when he lined up to the ball, and you could see that he was going dead over that water, and the crowd just erupted. The adrenaline coursing through his veins had to hype him up so much. And then he just unleashes a bomb, and halfway over the water, he knew it was going over and just let it fly. Johnny Drama victory style on the tee box. Like, that's what golf needs. It needs that raw emotion. It needs a guy like Bryson, a guy like Tiger, who just pumped up these crowds and brought, a different aspect to viewing instead of just the old, handshakes, golf claps. It needs a little modern kick in the belly.
Sure.
It's important for golf. This is probably the most excitement around any one player since Tiger, and it's not the same kind of excitement as Tiger, right? We don't expect Bryson to go out and win 7 tournaments in a row like Tiger did, but the aura that he's created, I mean, the intensity, again, just the crowds of people at Bay Hill that were flocking to the sixth tee every time he got close to get a glimpse of it, that's the energy that golf needs.
The one thing I will say that I dislike is that he uses long shafts and same length shafts on all of his clubs.
It's just weird.
Not only is it weird, but it gives him an incredible, other golfers should start thinking about this. In that long rough, the extra miles per hour on his shorter irons that he's getting, it's hitting the ball higher and it's hitting that green with less spin. But it's coming down at such a dramatic angle that it's not rolling off. And the other guys who aren't doing that, their balls are running through the greens because they're not getting all that spin and height out of that rough. So it's kind of I don't like it.
I agree, but also think about trying to hit your 6-iron out of the sand trap. Try to think about hitting a long iron as long as a 6-iron out of the sand trap and trying to come down and scoop up on the ball like that. I mean, that's going the other way. He's probably at a disadvantage there to the other players on tour.
His short game isn't bad either. His short game is actually pretty good.
All right. So a couple more big storylines. Old man Westwood gave it everything he had. That was an unbelievable putt for par on 18 to even make it interesting for Bryson.
Yeah.
Rory fades again on Sunday. Victor Hovland finally bounces with a tough weekend. Corey Connors in contention. Jordan Spieth, another top 5. It was a good weekend.
Kokrak, baby. Kokrak.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Oh, we were so close to hitting that. We'll talk about that.
He gave it a good sweat for a couple days. Well, let's jump right in then. Let's first go to the right-click print money segment and recap our winners from the week. Then we'll get to those bogeys and those sweats that didn't exactly hit tickets. So let's start with you, ShallowCal. Give me your right-click print money winners from the Arnold Palmer Invitational.
All right, from the old Arnold Palmer Invitational, I had Corey Connors, 17-1, top 5. Right click, print money. Jordan Spieth, top 20, plus 130, right click, print money. Not a lot of them this week, but they did what they needed to do and gave me a winning card. So that's
the
all you
right
can.
ones this week.
Yeah, exactly.
How about you, Tmac? Where were you making money?
I had 5 this week. I lost money on the card, but top 10 Spieth at plus 260. I had a top 10 on Fitzpatrick at plus 225, top 20 and top 20 on Spieth and Fitzpatrick again. So plus 120 for Fitzpatrick, plus 130 for Spieth, and then Kokrak at top 20 for plus 175.
Right click, print money, baby. All right, for me, Matthew Fitzpatrick, top 10, plus 240. Will Zalatoris, top 10, plus 450. And Christaan Bezuidenhout, top 10, plus 1,000. Right click, print money, baby. Same deal. Not a lot of winners this week, but a couple nice ones. Let's turn our attention to maybe the picks that we wish we had back. Bogeys of the week. Give me your worst golf tips, T-Mac, from your card at the Arnold Palmer Invitational.
I mean, it had to be Victor Hovland. I mean, I was big on him, and you had even said he has to bounce, and he thought it was going to be this week. I should have listened to you. I had him as an outright. I had him as a top 10. I had him as a top 5. Just really big on him, and could have used all that money back.
I can one-up you there, but I'm going to let ShallowCal go first.
So mine is old Louis Oosthuizen. He really jobbed me there. I mean, I got all of my units back. He screwed me in fantasy golf first and foremost because I couldn't change him out of my lineup because he withdrew too late. And then like I put all these units. I put 2.5 units on the line in different forms of him. I wish I had those 2.5 units to spread back. I was really disappointed that he WD'd before the tournament even started. I would have much rather spread those units out and had some more sweats than just having a guy just bounce and get those back.
So a Louis withdrawal, a Victor Hovland complete collapse on the weekend. As I said, I think I can one-up both of those with my bogey of the week with an outright pick that didn't make it to the weekend. Francesco Molinari, whom I bet at 35-1, loved that number for an outright, also added top 5 and 10 place bets. All he did was go a quick 8 over through 2 days at Bay Hill to miss the cut by 6 shots. Definitely my bogey of the week. Mm-hmm. Let's turn it back a little more positive here and end this segment with the sweats. Give me 1 or 2 bets that you each had a nice weekend sweat on but did not cash, and we'll start with you, ShallowCal.
So the Gim Reaper was looking
Dougie Gim
7 going into Sunday, and all he had to do was finish top 10 for me, and he totally fell apart. I think it was an 80, 81, 82, but it was brutal. He totally fell apart, and then Christaan Bezuidenhout, man, I'm butchering the name, I'm sure, but holy crap. That finish cost me a top 5 for him. That would have paid, I believe, 13-1. And he was there, and he had it. And he went bogey double to finish the tournament and lose on top 5 by 1 stroke. Just a way to end it.
I'm going to jump right over you, T-Mac, quickly because my sweat is the exact same as ShallowCal. I was also on Bezuidenhout for a top 5. I had him at 20-1. ShallowCal and I were texting for probably about 30, 40 minutes straight there. Those last couple holes, 15, 16, 17, 18, as we were watching that. It looked so good on 16. I mean, he birdies to move to -8. You figure we've got this.
Yes.
Then a bogey on 17 when he hit the damn hospitality tent,
He
followed
got
by...
relief. He got relief.
He got relief and couldn't get up and down. That was a hell of a putt, though, on 17. He gave it a good run. But then a bogey, a water ball and a double bogey at 18 seemingly sunk his chances. But what made this sweat even more angering for me is I had to stop watching golf there for about 15, 20 minutes. And I was trying to check in on Twitter and, with my AirPods wherever I could. But I was having to tend to the kid. And I come to realize that -6 would have cashed the top 5 bet.
Oh,
Everybody
yes.
backed up to him those last 30 minutes.
He was there at 8 under going into 17. If you had told me going into 17 that 6 under was going to be a top 5,
guarantee.
I would have right click, print money, give me all of that.
Yeah, Sunday was rough on everyone.
It was. Tell us about your sweat, Tmac. What had you going this weekend?
I mean, my biggest sweat of the weekend was first round leader on Coke Rack. I had him at 40-1. It was a half unit bet, but I mean, 20 units. If he hits that, it basically pays for my card right off the bat. I think he was negative -7 going in, finishing up the day. I knew because he was early that it was going to be a long sweat because there were just so many golfers behind him. Little did I know that it'd be Corey Connors that comes up and takes that from me.
Nothing better maybe in golf betting than hitting a first round leader ticket on Thursday and paying off all or most of your cards to where you don't have to sweat the rest of the weekend.
Sure.
You know that you're going to be right click printing money all day.
I would have had a positive units this week if that would have hit, but on to the next.
Yeah, Bezuidenhout did the same to me. So let's quickly then recap our tournament. ShallowCal, 3rd week in a row in the positive. The only one of the 3 of us. You were up 2.3.
I was in the negative at the concession.
Did you go? Oh, that's right. That's right. We all were negative at the concession.
Yeah, I was negative at the concession, but made a little comeback there this week.
Positive 2.3 units. That's marking them.
Yeah.
I lost 5.55 units on this card. Tmac goes down 16.95 units. The good news, boys, we are all 3 still up for the year. ShallowCal, you lead the way with a whopping positive 44.18 units. If you are a $100 bettor, just tailing all of ShallowCal's picks, you are up over $4,400 since the start of the new golf year. Myself, SportsGuyTy, positive 29.37 units, and Tmac plus 20.38 units. Altogether, gentlemen, we are up over 94 units. Right click, print money, baby.
Let's keep that growing, baby.
Well, we're going to keep that going. We're going to jump right into previewing the Players Championship.
I'm going to buy a neighbor's house for you, T-Mac, if it continues to go this way.
You heard it here. That's binding.
That is a binding verbal contract. All right, so the tour rolls along to Ponde Vedra Beach this week. Let's jump into a little bit of the preview, the layout, stats to consider. The Players Championship, we got the stadium course at TPC Sawgrass, a Pete Dye design. This is the crown jewel of the tour. Anybody know the story on how TPC came to be?
Nope.
I don't.
Okay, so very, very quickly, former PGA Tour Commissioner Dean Beeman, this was kind of a passion project of his in the 1980s. He wanted a tournament that could have that major-like feel, but that was truly by the players, for the players. He actually approached Sawgrass Country Club in Ponte Vedra and tried to buy their facility and their golf course, and they laughed him out the door, even made a $100 bet with him that he wouldn't be able to pull something like that off. So he got together with several prominent folks in the Jacksonville area, a couple landowners, land developers. They sold him over 400 acres of land adjacent to Sawgrass Country Club for $1, and he developed what became the iconic TPC Sawgrass with the 17th hole, enlisted Pete Dye, and the rest is history. Since then, it has always been the tournament for the players. And let me revisit what you brought up at the start of the show, T-Mac. Is this the fifth major? Should it be the fifth major?
I mean, I think so. And of course, in this field, if you're winning in this tournament with this field, yeah, that's a major.
What about you, ShallowCal? Where do you come down
Yeah,
on it?
it definitely is. It definitely is the in my eyes, right there, with it definitely is like the fifth best, fifth most
Esteemed? What are you looking for?
Yes,
Okay.
there we go. I'm sorry, I couldn't find the word. Tournament to win. The course is challenging. It sets up like a major. It plays like a major. However, I don't want to go expanding the majors. The four majors that we have, I think, should stay. You got one in the spring, one in early summer, one in the middle of the summer, and one in late summer, early fall. I think it just it's fitting the way that we do it, and I like to keep it that way.
I think trying to wedge it into being the fifth major actually waters down what the Players Championship is. I agree completely that the course itself is major caliber, the field is major caliber, the way that every single player on tour wants to win this tournament as much or more than any other makes it feel like a major. But I think when we call it the fifth major, it's exactly that, right? Like if it gains major status, it's always going to be the fifth major. And so when you keep it as a standalone tournament that the tour actually promotes, I think it actually gives it more prestige. I mean, you don't hear them promoting, the Rocket Mortgage Classic the way they do the TPC. You don't hear them promoting the Wyndham. Right. And so I think leaving it just how it is the level of prestige that it commands and that it deserves. Damn hard golf tournament to win too. Never been back-to-back winners at the Players. ShallowCal, hit us with some course vitals. What are we looking at this week?
So this week, you've got par 72, 7,200 yards, give or take, depending on where they put the tees. It's probably one of the more familiar courses to a lot of these guys. These guys have played it, they remember it, they know it, and it still is a tough course for them. You don't see a lot of first timers out here.
A debutant has never won the Players.
Yep, that's right. You've got the famous 17th hole, like we've talked about. In my opinion, that's going to create some drama, but 18 with the water all the way along is probably one of the, best finishing holes that we see on tour, if not the best finishing holes. You're going to have big old Bryson step up to the tee box, and if he's, with Lee Westwood again, and, he just crushes one left into the water, it's a completely different story. Whereas, some of these other holes in finishing aren't quite as challenging. Bermuda grasses, it's Florida. What's new? So it's going to be a lot of action there. A lot of water. A lot of water.
First of all, how great was it when Lee Westwood stepped up after Bryson's tee shot on 6 on Sunday, hit it 306 yards and gave the...
Yeah.
I was going to ask who did it better.
It was incredible.
When I hit it 306 yards and it's in the middle of the fairway, I am very ecstatic.
Did you hear what he said after? He said that he was proud that Bryson taught him a new way to celebrate.
That's so good.
And those guys were having fun, man. If
they were
having fun in that situation, you're doing it wrong. Like you're
going to making millions of dollars as well.
Exactly. That's just.
I think I'd have a lot of fun doing that too.
Yep.
Anyways, back to this TPC. This course has got real narrow fairways. The guys who hit the ball long definitely have a little bit of an advantage. But if you're loose off the tee, you're going to find yourself in real big trouble real quick. And the greens, Jack Nicklaus famously said, I don't I'm not very good at stopping a golf ball on the hood of a Chevy or something like that. So that's something to watch out for this week as well.
So one interesting point quickly on the greens, because my very first inclination when the odds started trickling out at a few books over the weekend was to go bet Bermuda Burns coming off of the performance at the API when he was so trendy and everybody was on him. I figured this was going to be a great week for a long number, get him on some Bermuda. I dug a little bit deeper. There is Bermuda in the greens, but it's dormant right now since the move from May to March. It's still, remember, this is Northeast Florida, and somebody from coming from somebody who spent a lot of time on the Panhandle growing up, it's seasonal, it's temperate, right? Like it's not the typical 75 and sunny year round in Florida, in Northeast Florida. So what's happening is the Poe and the bent grass are more prominent this week on the greens because again, the Bermuda is going to stay dormant until more of that like April, May timeframe where we used to see the players. And so there's a lot of conflicting stats out there because of the move. But yes, Bermuda in it, but actually a little bit more Poe and bent grass we're going to be putting on this week. T-Mac, before we get into important stats to consider, anything else from you on the course?
No, I mean, it's a little bit shorter of a course. I mean, just under 7,200 yards. Although the fairways are narrow, as ShallowCal alluded to, I think it's kind of the guys that scramble that actually do best here. I mean, Webb Simpson isn't going to win any long drive contests anytime soon, but he does well here.
Webb Simpson, Abe Answer, a lot of guys, a lot of shorter hitters on tour who are accurate tend to find a lot of success at Pete Dye courses because of the angles, because of all the water that's protecting the greens.
Mm-hmm. Patrick Reed, as much as I hate to say it.
Maybe so.
Only if the ball gets plugged.
All right, well, lead us into some of those important stats to consider, T-Mac. What are you looking at this week as you're building the card?
So I don't think I'm going anything too fancy this week. I think what's most important is going to be strokes gained on the approach. I think greens in regulation, and I think scrambling percentage are the three that I'm really focusing on. Driving is important, but it's not that important. It's just kind of a fun fact in 2019. McIlroy he won the tournament in 2019 with only hitting 58.9% of his fairways. So, I mean, that just, if you're a purist, I mean, that's not you don't like that kind of golf. But I mean, if you can kind of get out there and scramble and make things happen, the drive isn't the most important.
Classic Pete Dye course in that it forces a lot of layups. I actually think you're going to see a lot more guys keep driver in the bag this week, particularly somebody like a Justin Thomas, who is not the longest, but is a longer hitter on tour, but he's been struggling like crazy with the driver. He has been worse than Spieth the last 5 tournaments off the tee. But what I think you're going to see is I think he's going to stick that in the bag. You're going to see a lot of 3 woods. He's going to put himself in good position off the fairway. You can attack from that position.
For sure.
I'm also looking at strokes gained approach. Again, lots of layups on a Pete Dye course. I want not only good long iron players, but good wedge players. That leads me into also considering strokes gained around the green. And then, as you mentioned, T-Mac, scrambling. You got to avoid the big number at TPC Sawgrass this week, and it's going to be key. When you go in the water, because it's going to happen, you just got to avoid making that huge number.
Like Rory?
Yeah.
Well, how about that scramble, though, when he pulled out driver, then 247, sticks it within 2.5 feet?
Dude, to make an eagle on your 3rd tee shot, incredible.
Unbelievable. Yeah, if that were me, I would literally just quit for the day.
Even after the first 2 water balls.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think your longer hitters this week, and like you said, it's not necessarily inaccuracy. The fairways are narrow. The guys who are longer hitters, if they're a little loose, are going to have shorter approach shots. Like Bryson much like Bryson this last week, where he's going to have 9-iron in his hand coming out of the rough. So how is that going to affect it? We'll see. But I think the biggest thing last week, and I think another thing to watch this week, is putting. Bryson was draining them this last week. And if somebody can get, like, whoever's going to get hot with the putter is going to have a great chance to win this tournament. I mean, what was that, 50 some feet for par? He made multiple putts from outside 15, 20 feet, either saving par or for birdie. So let's see who does that this week, and I bet you they'd be right up at the top.
Well, let's then move right to talking about our outright picks, and you can tell us, Shallow Cal, who you think is going to take advantage of some of those skills and get to the top. But before we do that, before we give the people what we want with the picks, tell me, Shallow Cal, your strategy quickly for building the card this week. Same, different? What's going on this week?
I was a little bit less into the longer odds this week because of some of the shorter odds and the names, and especially the names at the top who have not won here and really, really, really want to win here. So this isn't, your Phoenix Open, great, everybody wants to win that, right? Well, this is a step above that. If DJ's playing at the Phoenix Open, of course he wants to win, but he really, really, really wants to win this one. Go ahead.
How about you, Tmac? Any change in your strategy to building the card this week?
Not really. I mean, I shortened up how many outrights I picked this time. I kind of focused those kind of spray ones that I do more on first round leaders. So I'm kind of adapting a little bit, but I'm still kind of laddering my top 5s, 10s, and 20s, taking a couple outrights that I think will be fun, a couple that I think have a chance, and then a couple just props for fun.
Pretty similar strategy this week for me as in weeks past. The Euro Tour does return in Qatar with the Masters, so I am splitting cards. I've got one both for the Players and for Euro, so my Players card is a bit shorter. 5 outrights right now for me with some place bets as well. No first round leader tickets at this time. I may add as we get a little bit closer to first tee.
Boy.
All right, let's talk the betting board. Outright picks less than 20 to 1. I know, Shallow Cal, you mentioned that you've got your eye on a few names closer to the top of the board, led by Dustin Johnson, 11 to 1, 12 to 1, even down to 10 to 1 in some places.
Yeah. So the reason that I like him, he's going to be hungry for this one. This is something that he does not have on his resume. And I kind of went against a trend, and he really hasn't played that well at this tournament. And I don't know if it's because he's pressing or what, but I'm going to throw a half unit that way, 11 to 1. I'm going to go next, Jon Rahm. Best, great player, second best player in the world in my eyes behind DJ.
Feels like a tournament he should win. A tough course, a tough field.
And then going with 2 of the best ball strikers in the game right now. Probably the best ball striker, really, that we've seen since maybe, dare I say it, Tiger Woods. Colin Morikawa. This kid has impressed me a lot. And then
what's your number on Morikawa?
Morikawa, I got it 18 to 1. And then we're going Webb Simpson 20 to 1. These guys are, Morikawa's got some distance off the tee, but his ball striking and his swing and Webb's as well with the iron in his hand, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for somebody who's going to be within 20 feet putting for birdie on a majority of these holes.
T-Mac, we've got pretty similar cards shaping up this week. Anybody for you shorter than 20 to 1?
Negative Ghost Rider.
Yep, I am the same. Nobody. I looked at Webb at 20. I looked at Justin Thomas at 19. Couldn't pull the trigger at either. I did leave one hole open on my card, as I mentioned. I usually go with 6 outright picks. I'm at 5. I am still considering a few of those names, but as of now, no picks for me less than 20 to 1. Okay, T-Mac, take us through your picks in the 20s and 30s.
Only got one of them, Patrick Cantlay, 22 to 1. Got a whole unit bet on him. In fact, this is what I did a little differently this week is I did 1 unit bets on all of my outrights except for one of them, which I'll talk about when we get to it.
I like it. I'm with you there. I'm on Patrick Cantlay at 25-1. I'm 2 units on Cantlay there with some place bets as well.
Come on, BetMGM, you got to get those odds better.
Oh, you got to be able. You got to shop. Got to have multiple books.
Can't do it. Well, then okay, then I'll call out the other websites because I always call out BetMGM, FanDuel, DraftKings. I live in Michigan. What else can I do to prove it?
Can we get this man some books?
You want a blood sample? You want a stool sample? What do you want from me?
The stool sample will show that you clearly live in Michigan with all the limestone in your water.
I've given them everything else.
Yeah.
So as I mentioned, Cantlay for me, 25-1. 2-week layoff after the withdrawal or before the concession started. He should be rested. Ball striking numbers have been good. Approach has been phenomenal, and he is an absolute horse on Pete Dye courses. 3 T7s or better at Harbortown, 3 T15 top 15s at TPC River Highlands, and he's been great at the Stadium course at PGA West. I love Patrick Cantlay. That's where I went big with my 2 units this week. What about you, ShallowCal? Anybody in the 20s and 30s?
Yeah, I got a couple guys. My man Jordan Spieth. I want him to win so freaking bad.
It's coming. I don't know if it's this week, but it's coming.
I'm gonna start putting outright on him every single week, just so that when he's there on Sunday, I can I just want it to happen so badly, so badly.
It could be this course, though. His driver seems to be his downside, so this could be it.
But like you said, Tmac, with Rory not hitting very many fairways, Jordan is also a longer player, and he's a great scrambler.
Oh my God! Out of the bunker, he is unbelievable. I think he was. God, I can't remember this. I think he was on the green out of every bunker this weekend, if I remember that correctly.
It's unbelievable. The guy. I mean, he's had a lot of practice the past year and a half, but the guy can really scramble well. And another guy who can really scramble well and whose greenside play is better than anybody's, Mr. Patrick Plug It Up Reed. And I got him at 39-1 and Spieth at 22-1.
Okay. I actually really like the number on Patrick Reed at 39. He's at 40 right now on FanDuel. And that's one of those kind of thresholds where I said if he goes longer than the 30s, I may have to jump on it. He's one of those final 3 or 4 in the contention for me if I'm going to add another golfer.
All right.
Okay. Let's see. We got your 20s and 30s, Tmac. So we're ready to move to the 40s and 50s. Take us there, Tmac.
Nothing.
ShallowCal.
I got the guy who was about to win the tournament last year before they blew the horn on him, Mr. Hideki Matsuyama at 40-1.
Also a great number on Hideki, who's in the 30s now at a lot of books.
Yep. I jumped on that one Sunday. Boy, they had it up Sunday at like 5:00. I want to say. So I jumped on that one right away when I saw it at 40-1.
Only one play in this range for me, Jason Day at 50-1. Again, another classic case where I love the number, maybe more so than I do the player. Although Jason Day, I do like the form that he's rounding into. Worried me a little bit, some of the interviews he was given post API saying he's not quite there yet. But again, another course horse for Pete Dye courses. He's a former Players winner here. He also won his lone major, the PGA, in 2015 at Whistling Straits, another classic Pete Dye course. Lost it a little bit on Sunday at Bay Hill in tough conditions with that 7-over round to move him to +1 for the tournament. But Jason Day is one of those guys where if he catches it for a week, he's going to be tough to stop at a course he likes a whole bunch. All right, before we get into triple digits, let's lump it together. Let's go 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s together. T-Mac, who you got down here?
I got 2 here, both at 66-1. I got Abe Answer and Cam Smith. Love them both. I mean, Abe, he's kind of shaky sometimes. I love Cam. He, talking fantasy for a moment, he basically won me when he won the Masters. That helped quite a bit. So, yep, both 66-1, both 1 unit bet on both.
How about you, Shallow Cal? Who for you in the 60s through the 90s?
So another guy that's an incredible ball striker, an incredible player. He's been coming on strong. Mr. Cam Smith. I really like him. I've got Max Homa.
Where'd you get
This
Cam
guy,
Smith at? What number?
65 to 1.
Okay.
I've been working in Ohio where sports betting is not legal, so some of the action I wasn't able to quite get in on when the number was a little bit better. And then Max Homa, 80 to 1. I saw that number, and I'll throw a half unit on every on Max Homa every tournament if we can keep up this Twitter this Twitter persona. And
One of
then
those auto bets for you every week.
oh yeah, I love me some Max Homa. And then a guy who really, really, really disappointed last week. I think he's going to turn it around and come back strong, like the previous week at the concession, and that's Billy Ho. The guy is just like you said last week, born in Florida, played golf at Florida, hasn't won in Florida. Let's break that, and I got him outright at 85 to 1.
William Ho, he of the very poor trash talk back to a fan on Friday at the Arnold Palmer Invitational. That was just an awkward exchange. I mean, I get it. Like, if somebody's ragging on you, you want to clap back a little bit. But come on, William Ho, you got to come stronger than
That's
that.
that's the one reason that I don't want a ton of fans back in the stands and back on the course, because when there's less fans, you hear much more of that. These guys can hear, one smart ass mouth in the crowd as opposed to 100 smart ass mouths constantly, talking to them. And I think it's great for golf that the little clap back and the little the little trash talk back from Billy. And I don't know if you guys saw this, but there was a young kid who did a report on Jordan Spieth. I retweeted this on Twitter, but Spieth was walking down the fairway and he goes after a tee shot, and he goes, "Hey, I did a report on you in a speech. You want to hear it?" Jordan stops dead in his tracks and is like, "Absolutely." And the kid gives off his speech, and it was an awesome moment that Jordan actually stopped and took a minute to listen. It was great.
And that kid, he performed when the lights came on. I mean, he rattled off that speech. It was impressive.
He sure did.
Yeah, Jordan laughing. It was good stuff.
I didn't see that.
Let me wrap us up here on the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. I'm on the same tip as Tmac. I'm on Cam Smith. I got him at 75 to 1, actually. It was just too juicy. I couldn't pass it up. I figured that people were going to be off him a little bit after that mini collapse on Saturday at the concession. Even though the Bermuda is dormant on the greens this week, I still like him on Florida courses and on Florida greens, very similar to what he grew up playing in Brisbane. I think he's a great play. And then Abe Answer as well, got him at 80 to 1. Also great on Pete Dye courses with top 10s at the Amex, Harbor Town, and TPC River Highlands. Being that shorter hitter, again, I think this course sets up perfectly for him to have a lot of nice second shots into the greens. All right, let's wrap it up with triple digits, 100 to 1 or longer bets on the outright for you this week. Shallow Cal, start us off.
That's a negative Ghost Rider, as T-Mac would say.
T-Mac.
Like I said earlier, I think there are too many good players this week that have not won this event and that are going to be looking to win this event. And really pushing for it. So that's a negative for me.
How about you, T-Mac?
I got 4 this week. So I've got my boy Cameron Tringali at 125 to 1. He's due, man. He's played this course so well traditionally if you look back at his stats. So I'm feeling good about him this week. Taylor Gooch at 150 to 1. Again, 1 unit bets on both of those guys. I got my boy Matthew Neesmith here at 200 to 1. I got 3 units on him. He's been up and down, but I don't know. I like him this week. It's a juicy bet, but again, I like to take these as you like to call them lotto picks to Sports Guy Ty. Then I got Brian Stewart at 400 to 1. I got 1 unit on him.
And as we know, if John Augenstein was in the field, you'd have a 750 to 1 ticket on him too.
All day, every day. He's gonna be my big hit one of these days.
I love Brian Stewart as well. He's a local guy. Grew up in Napoleon, Michigan, which is actually the teeny tiny little town of about 500 people that my parents live in. Middle West.
Right?
Yeah, that's right. Graduated from Lumen Christi and then went on to play at Oakland University. I like it. 400 to 1's a bit long for my taste, but I like Stewart in general. As I mentioned, our cards favor each other a lot, T-Mac. My 1 triple-digit play this week, also Cameron Tringali. Got him at 150 to 1. That's a very long number for somebody who has good form coming into the event. Ball striking's been good off the tee and on approach. He's got 3 top 20s in his last 5 starts, including 2 years ago, a T16 at TPC Sawgrass. I just think that number's too long for him. I actually didn't go with a top 5 bet on him this week. I put a full unit on a top 10 because I don't know that he wins it, don't know that he gets that high, but I do feel like he can threaten top 10. Before we end the show tonight, give me one more bet on your card that you're excited about that is not an outright pick, and we'll start with you, T-Mac.
I got first round leader Joaquin Niemann at 66 to 1. He's gonna double my card up this week off the first day. I'm gonna sit back and just relax and watch the money roll in.
Ball striker, baby.
Right click, print money.
How about you, ShallowCal?
So I'm gonna go roll with 2 of them here.
No. He said 1.
Yeah, I'm rolling with 2 because one of them is for Sports Guy Ty's boy, who graciously said that I reminded him and looked like Pat Perez. So I tossed a
shout out to Bradley Kyles, loyal listener of the show.
Yes, absolutely. Right click, print money, baby. I'm a man of the people, so I'm gonna throw a top 10 Pat Perez finishing out there at 25 to 1. I only threw a quarter on it, but hey, whatever.
Not bad.
Yeah. And then my other one is let's go for 2 in a row. Hideki Matsuyama, first round leader, 45 to 1.
I thought about grabbing a first round leader ticket on Hideki just for some incredible karma.
That was an auto bet right there. So let's see if he can do it again.
Nothing for me this week beyond the outrights and the place bets. Again, leaving one hole in my card if I want to get a little creative, but that's it for me. As a reminder, you can see all of our picks, including those outrights that we listed tonight, our top 5, top 10, top 20 place bets, matchups, and props by following at RightClickPicks on Twitter. We'll tweet out our full weekly cards later tonight so you can see the rundown. Again, got that link to the spreadsheet with historical tracking of our performance. And gentlemen, as always, the goal is printing paper. So let's get out there and right-click print money for the masses.
Cheers, gentlemen.
Just wanted to say thank you to everybody out there who's listening and downloading. We really, really appreciate it. We wouldn't be here without you guys. And thanks a lot.